There are places in this world where the past never truly dies, where the echoes of history linger in every creaking floorboard, every cold breath down a quiet hall. Welcome to the Stanley Hotel, a place known to many as the inspiration behind The Shining. But to those who truly know its story, it's so much more. It's not fiction, it's not fantasy. Here, the ghosts are real. Let's step inside and witness the real hauntings the Stanley Hotel has to offer. Hello everyone, my name is Rob and I will be your host for this evening. This is my series Echoes of the Past, your Monday portal into the chilling true history of the world's most haunted locations. You're watching the Friday Night Campfire Stories YouTube channel, where every week we gather around the campfire and share tales that blur the lines between history and horror. If you love getting lost in the darkness of the past, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community today. There's always room for one more, especially in a place like this. At the turn of the 20th century, Estes Park was a little more than a rugged patch of wilderness, breathtaking, untamed, and dangerously isolated. But one man would see more than just a beautiful frontier. He would see the chance to build a legacy. Freeland Oscar Stanley, a wealthy investor and businessman from Massachusetts, came to Colorado in 1903, seeking something he couldn't build in a factory: a cure. Diagnosed with tuberculosis, the white plague of the era, doctors advised Stanley to find clean, dry mountain air to save what was left of his health. It was a desperate gamble, but it worked. Within a few months of moving to Estes Park, Stanley's health dramatically improved. He fell in love, not just with life, but the landscape itself. Wanting to share the beauty he had found, Stanley envisioned a grand hotel, one that would offer the comfort, sophistication, and glamour of East Coast high society right in the heart of the rugged West. In 1907, construction began, using the finest materials, modern electricity, and even automobiles to ferry guests to and from the remote location. The Stanley opened its doors in 1909. It was a marvel of its time, an opulent retreat for the elite. An opulent retreat for the elite, boasting electric lights, telephones, en-suite bathrooms, and stunning mountain views. A castle in the clouds. Celebrities, politicians, and businessmen filled its grand halls. The Stanley became a playground for the rich and the influential. But even then, something about the hotel felt different. Guests spoke of strange drafts, whispered voices, and fleeting shadows in the night. The hotel had just begun its journey, and yet the seeds of mystery were already taking its root beneath the polished facade. For all its grandeur, the Stanley Hotel was never immune to misfortune. In fact, some of the earliest tragedies have helped lay the foundation for the hauntings that still echo through the halls today. In 1911, disaster struck. A gas leak filled room 217 with dangerous fumes. Elizabeth Wilson, the hotel's chief housekeeper, entered the suite with an open flame, unaware of the invisible danger waiting for her. The result of the explosion was catastrophic. Elizabeth was thrown from the second floor into the hotel dining room below. Miraculously, she survived, suffering only a broken ankle and a few injuries, but her brush with death left its mark, not just on her, but to the building itself. To this day, guests staying in room 217 report strange occurrences: luggage unpacking itself, lights turning on and off, and a ghostly presence, gentle but firm. tidying the room around them. Many believe it's the spirit of Elizabeth Wilson. Still dutiful looking after its guests, she never abandoned, even in death. But not all of the Stanley spirits are well documented. Some exist only in whispers and legends, like Lucy. Long after the Stanleys were gone, during the years when the hotel sat partially abandoned, trespassers would sometimes break in. Among them, it said, was a young girl named Lucy. Desperate and alone, she sought shelter in the cold, empty halls. One freezing night, she hid in the concert hall, but whether by accident or by a cruel twist of fate, Lucy allegedly succumbed to the cold before anyone could find her. To this day, paranormal investigators claim to hear a young girl's giggle echoing through the halls. Thermal cameras have captured unexplained cold spots and the faint outline of a small figure hiding among the shadows. Some say Lucy still plays among the old stage lights, forever waiting for the show to begin. While the Stanley Hotel is celebrated for luxury and elegance, behind the gilded veneers lies a darker history, one marked by sorrow, untimely deaths, and whispered tragedies that some say refuse to rest. Over the decades, the Stanley bore silent witness to several deaths, some natural, others clouded in mystery. In 1940, Freeland Oscar Stanley, the hotel's visionary founder, passed away, although not in the hotel itself. Still, many believe that a piece of his spirit may have never left. Guests and staff alike have reported seeing a distinguished man in early 20th century attire wandering the lobby, surveying the hotel with pride. Some say it's Freeland himself, still ensuring his beloved masterpiece is kept to the highest of standards. His wife, Flora Stanley, also remains part of the hotel's lore. An accomplished pianist, Flora is said to be heard late at night, playing the phantom keys of her long silent piano in the concert hall, a mournful melody that echoes through the emptiness. But not all the spirits of the Stanley are so familiar. Over the years, there have been scattered reports of death occurring within the hotel's walls. Elderly guests who passed peacefully in their sleep, workers injured during its construction, and even unnamed visitors who simply vanished into the legend of the Stanley. The fourth floor, once the servants' quarter and children's area, holds some of the hotel's most unsettling energy. Staff report hearing laughter of unseen children, phantom footsteps racing down the hall, and a feeling of small hands tugging at their clothing. Some theorize that illnesses, accidents, and harsh living conditions in the early 1900s may have claimed young lives where echoes still linger today. The Stanleys' history of accidents, loss, and lingering sorrow stretches beyond the hotel itself. Nearby, the rugged wilderness of Estes Park have claimed countless lives through accidents, exposure, and tragedy. Some believe the Stanley acts as a beacon, drawing lost souls to its grand, isolated walls, a crossroad where living and the dead briefly meet. A place where the beauty and darkness coexist, and where elegant corridors hold a story that time has tried and failed to forget. If you dare to walk in the Stanley's historic halls, it's not just history you'll find, but the restless spirits who refuse to leave. These are the haunted hotspots where the veil between worlds seem impossibly thin. We begin where it all started, room 217, known to horror fans as the room that inspired Stephen King's terrifying visions. It carries its own dark reputation beyond fiction. After surviving the deadly gas explosion, housekeeper Elizabeth Wilson reportedly returned, not in life, but in spirit. As stated earlier, guests tell stories of waking to find their luggage unpacked, lights turned off, and the unmistakable presence of a maternal figure still tending to her duties. Some male guests even report feeling tucked in at night, as if by a watchful mother. But room 217 is only the beginning. One spirit that frequently is spotted here is the cowboy, A tall man in old-fashioned Western attire who appears at the foot of the bed or standing silently near windows. Some believe he's the ghost of a long-forgotten rancher who once roamed the land before the hotel was even built. And then there's the grand staircase that's often called the Vortex. Paranormal investigators believe this spot acts as a sort of supernatural portal, a swirling energy point where spirits enter and exit the hotel. Guests have captured strange orbs, distorted images, and even figures ascending or descending the stairs that vanish upon the second glance. The concert hall, home to the Legend of Lucy, hums a different kind of energy. Investigators have heard a girl's giggle, captured ghostly footsteps across the stage, and felt cold spots move through the air, as if a playful spirit still lingers backstage, hiding behind the old curtains. And throughout the hotel, guests and staff alike tell of phantom children playing in the halls, doors slamming without a cause, the smell of a phantom cigar smoke drifting down corridors, and fleeting shadows that disappear when chased. Every corner of the Stanley seems alive, breathing the memories of those who built it, loved it, and perhaps they never truly left. For over a century, the Stanley Hotel has been a place where the lines between the living and the dead blurs. But why does this majestic landmark seem to hold onto its spirit so tightly? And what proof do we really have that the hauntings are more than just legends? One theory points to the hotel's location itself. Nestled high in the Colorado Rockies, some believe the Stanley sits atop of powerful geomagnetic forces, natural energies that can act as the conduits for the paranormal phenomena. Others suggest that nearby ley lines, unseen energy pathways crisscrossing the earth, amplify the spiritual activity within its walls. Construction materials also come into play. The Stanley is surrounded by mountains rich with quartz and limestone, two materials often cited in paranormal theory as being capable of absorbing and amplifying spiritual energy. Could it be that the very stones around the Stanley are recording the echoes of the past? Of course, tragedy does leave its mark as well. The 1911 gas explosion, the illnesses, the accident, all weave an emotional tapestry strong enough to leave imprints, what some call residual hauntings, playing out again and again like broken records of sorrow, fear, and loss. But the theories only take us so far. At the Stanley Hotel, the evidence tells its own chilling story. Paranormal investigators, from amateur ghost hunters to professional crews like those seen on Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures, have captured startling amounts of anomalies here. In one of the most famous pieces of evidence, a table was caught on camera moving by itself inside the concert hall. With no visible strings or human interference, a chilling validation for those who had long reported the hall's ghostly happenings. In 2017, a family visited the Stanley, snapped a photograph of the grand staircase, only to discover later a clear figure of a young girl standing at the top. The image sent shockwaves through the paranormal community, with skeptics unable to fully debunk it. Electronic voice phenomena, or EVP sessions, have produced unexplainable voices calling out names, warning visitors to get out, or giggling with unseen laughter. Thermal imaging cameras have captured cold spots shaped like human figures, and motion sensors have gone off with no physical presence nearby. Guests have also reported personal experiences. Cameras drained of the battery the second after entering haunted rooms, unexplained nausea, feeling of dread, and sudden emotional swings tied to specific areas of the hotel. Whether it's natural energy, tragic human history, or forces we don't yet understand, the Stanley Hotel continues to defy explanation. One thing remains certain: those who visit rarely leave without their own story. The Stanley is a place where fiction and reality collide, but its true story is far older, far deeper, and far more chilling than anyone could have ever captured. This isn't just the backdrop of a famous horror story. It's a living entity, a monument built from the ambition marred by tragedy, and saturated with the emotions of every soul who passed through its doors. Here, the echoes of the past do not fade. They linger, in the flicker of the hallway lights, in the creaking floorboards under unseen feet, in the sudden, sharp chill of a room once full of life. Some spirits seem to protect it, loyal guests who simply just never checked out. Others, perhaps, are bound by loss or unfinished business, forever wandering its endless corridors. And though many come seeking only a brush with legends made famous by Stephen King, those who truly listen, those who walk its quiet halls after midnight, know the truth. The Stanley Hotel doesn't just inspire ghost stories, it is one. Thank you for watching this episode of Echoes of the Past. I hope that you did enjoy our journey into the Stanley Hotel. If you did, be sure to click that like button and hit that subscribe button while you're down there as well. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of August, and I know with your help we'll be able to do it. Here on the channel I make 3 full-length videos every week, Echoes of the Past every Monday, just like the one you watched here, Far From Fiction every Wednesday, which is my true crime series, and the namesake of the channel, the Friday Night Campfire Stories, where I share a chapter from one of my original stories with you guys. I also have a new book, A Perfect Journey Through Villain's Eyes, that is available now on Amazon. The link is in the top of the description. It includes 6 chilling tales that you'll be able to read through and experience. And as always, thank you for spending a little bit of your evening here with me.